So welcome to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we'll be going over some GCSE Maths higher content related to proportional problems. Now, as well as including a copy of the questions we go through in this video as a downloadable link in the description, I'll also include a link to a lesson that introduces the concept of proportion and goes through some similar examples so you get an idea of what to expect. Now, before we get started working through some exam questions related to proportion, let's just have a quick overview over what it is you need to be able to know. Now, the first thing, the most important bit, is to be able to write proportion as a fraction, decimal or a percentage. Now, as a topic, it's quite a low-level topic, but this topic is incorporated with so many topics in mathematics, particularly at high level, that it's really important that you do know this, along with ratios. Examiners now, I think the weighting is about 30% or 20%, between 20 and 30% will be based on ratio and proportion. So again, it's a really vital topic for you to understand. And then ultimately, once you've understood how to write proportions as a fraction, decimal or percentage, you then need to be able to use the proportion to work out amounts. Now, if you're not sure about proportion, I'll include a lesson link in the description below where the concept of proportion is introduced, and you can practice some more mathematical questions related to this particular topic. So without further ado, let's get started on some past exam questions. Now, again, a little reminder, if you're wanting access to these questions, all you need to do is just simply click on the link in the description. So looking at question 1, it says Susie earns £66.50 for 7 hours work. How much does she earn for 4.5 hours? So for this, what we need to do is basically work out how much she earns for 1 hour. So for 1 hour, it's going to be 66.5 divided by 7. And again, this could be on a non-calculator or a calculator paper, but either way, you should have an answer of £9.50. And then all that's left for us to do is do £9.50 multiplied by 4.5. And again, either decimal multiplication or using a calculator, but you should have an answer of £42.75. Then moving on to question 2, it says that a plane climbs 31,500 feet at steady speed for 14 minutes. How long does it take for it to reach 40,500? Now, one way of this is you're either going to do 31,500 divided by 14 or 14 divided by 31,500. Now, the way that I always work it is that whichever one that they're asking for, that's the number you're going to be multiplying by. Now, then it's just a case of deciding, well, which order do I divide these two numbers here? Now, because this number that you're going to be multiplying at the end is the feet, or in terms of the distance, then that's going to be the same as what goes at the bottom. So here, feet is going to be at the bottom, the distance, so it's 31,500, and 14 is going to go on the top. So these two things here are always going to be the same units, or talking about the same thing. So if that helps you answer these types of questions, then hopefully there you go. But you should have some understanding of the answer to make sure how realistic it actually is. So if I then type that all into my calculator, I should have an answer of 18, which kind of makes sense because if you're flying higher, you're going to be taking a lot longer. Then moving on to question 3, it says 50 grams of porridge provides 194 calories. What is the weight of porridge that is needed to provide 300 calories? So again, we're going to be multiplying by 300. And because this is a count of calories, that means the calories is what's going to go at the bottom of my fraction. So that's going to be 194 and 50 is going to go on top. So again, if I type that all into my calculator, I get an answer of 77.319, but I want to round that up to the nearest gram. So that's going to be 77 grams. Then moving on to question 4, it says that a netball team played 18 matches last year and won 12 of them. What proportion did they win? Give your answer as a fraction and in its simplest form. So again, here we're looking at 12 out of 18, and then it's just a case of simplifying that fraction in its simplest form, which is 2/3. Question 5, it says 3 people take 2 hours to mow a playing field. How long does it take 4 people, assuming they all work at the same rate? Give your answer in hours and minutes. Now, for these types of questions, what you need to do is you need to work out what the total time for the job is going to be. So total time needed for the job. And that is going to be 3 times 2, which is, so basically this is a 6-hour job. So then what we then need to do for 4 people is just do 6 divided by 4, which is 6 over 4, which is 3 over 2, which is 1.5 hours. And then we just need to give 1.5 hours as hours and minutes, and that's 1 hour and 30 minutes. Then moving on to question 6, it says 2 football players are comparing their goals record. Player A has played 27 matches and scored in 6 matches. Player B has played 32 matches and scored in 8 matches. Which player's scoring rate is the highest? Hopefully, I'm glad that they've not mentioned Ronaldo and Messi, because that would be worth more marks in terms of a discussion of seeing which one's which. We digress. So looking at this, what we want to do is work out the rate. Now for this, if we look at player A, now when you're doing your proportion, try and acknowledge the units that you're using. So here, if I do 6 over 27, then 6 represents the goals, 27 is the matches. So then when I do 6 divided by 27, which is 0.2 recurring, the units are going to be goals per game, and per just means the division. So then for player B, if I do the same proportion, so that's going to be 8 over 32, and that gives me an answer of 0.25, and again that's goals per game. Now from that you can then decide which one's better, and it's going to be player B. Then moving on to question 7, it says Andrew can type a constant number of words per minute. He takes 9 minutes to type an article of 504 words. How long does it take for him to type the article of 1134 words? Give your answer in minutes and seconds. So again, we're multiplying by 1134, that's the words. So when I set up my fraction, the words need to go at the bottom. So that's going to be 504. And the time is going to be 9. So typing that all into my calculator, I get an answer of 20.25, which is 20 and a quarter minutes. Now, a quarter of a minute is 15 seconds, so the answer then is going to be 20 minutes and 15 seconds. So a quarter of a minute equals 15 seconds. So if you're not sure about that, then just do 15 over 60, and that simplifies to give you a quarter, so we can then go from there. Well, actually it's going from that way to there. Moving on to question 8, it says it takes 16 machines to complete a job in 15 days. They all work at the same rate. 4 machines are broken and cannot be used. How much longer will it take to complete the same job? So again, the total time for the job is going to be 16 times 15. So working out, it's a 240-day job. Now we've got only got 12 machines, so for 12 machines it's going to be 240 divided by 12, which equals 20. So it's going to take 20 days. Now remember that the question says how much longer will it take. So here we had 15 days originally, but now it's going to take 20 days. So then the difference is going to be 20 minus 15, which is 5. Then moving on to question 9, it says which of these contains the highest proportion of oil? So it says mayonnaise, spreadable butter, salad cream. Ratio of oil to the other ingredients is 11 to 39, and you must show you're working out. So first of all, let's work out, well, this is a decimal. Now what we want to do is, as you can see, we've got a mixture of percentages, fractions, and a ratio. So looking at mayonnaise, if we convert that into a decimal, we're going to get 0.24. Then for spreadable butter, that's going to be a quarter, which is 0.25. Then for the salad cream, again looking at the ratio, that's going to be 11 out of, no, it's not out of 39, it's out of the total number of parts, which is 50. and that's going to give me an answer of 22 over 100, so that's going to be 0.22. So then out of these three numbers, which one is the highest? It's going to be spreadable butter. Then moving on to our last question, it says the address costs 39 and 95 cents in euros with an extra charge of delivery of 15 euros from a website in Spain. The same dress costs $49.99 with an extra charge of delivery of $4.95 from a website in the UK. If we've got an exchange rate of £1 equals €1.14, where is it cheaper to buy the dress? Now for this, what you need to do is either decide, do you want to work in pounds or do you want to work in euros? You don't need to do both, but what you need to do is make sure that the units for both are the same before you can compare. So then if we look at the website or the Spain price, so we'll work in euros to begin with, that the dress then is going to cost $39.95 plus 15, which is €54.95. Then if we convert that into pounds, so we divide that by 1.14, we get a price of £48.20. Then if we look at the UK price, then the dress costs $49.99 plus £4.95, and that comes up to a total of £50.94. So then all that's left for us to do is state which one's cheaper. Well, it's going to be España.